I met the founder of ISL, Mr. Michael Birbaum, many years ago when he was doing missionary work in Costa Rica, in a very, very impoverished area of Costa Rica called Sarapiquí. He noticed, even though he doesn't have a medical background, he noticed that it was common to find people with lesions in the skin and upper respiratory problems, and he said, this is very strange. He just found that to be a common thing. So when he was visiting with them one day, one of the aircrafts that they use for fumigation to spray the banana plantations with pesticides went by, and he said, oh my goodness, this is what it is. All these horrible things, the pesticides, are getting into people. So with his awesome heart, and that's where exactly the heart of ISL lies, he went to us, the administrator of the land, of the plantation, to give him like the schedule for fumigation. And they got very angry. And so people of the plantation came and bulldozed all this ranch and all these huts under the pouring rain. And they were just, it was a mess. The children were crying, and so he was trying to save their belongings, help them to save their belongings, because they were bulldozing things. At that moment, there was a bus with Americans. These people stopped the bus, and from the comfort of being dry and being on a bus, they were taking pictures of that tragedy. And so Michael came and said, why don't you help me to get their belongings and perhaps set up a temporary shelter for the night? And the answer was, we will be late for our next tour. And he couldn't understand how detached people could be. It was like being in Universal Studios, or I don't know, and those things that you go on a nice ride and they show you how they make pictures, right? Movies. It was so out of them. And seeing the tragedy right there, it was more important to say, oh, it will be late for our next tour. And they were taking pictures. That touched Michael in such a way that the rest is history. He came back to Corpus Christi, where he used to live at that time, until he said, how could I bring young people who are such in a bubble, who are not aware that a whole entire another kind of world exists out there, to come and help people. So he didn't stop and went and knocked doors in some of the universities in Texas and convinced people. But he is so clever, and he said, what could I offer in return to them? If I asked them to come and help people, what could I offer in return? Great idea. A space to practice what they know, a space to learn, a chance and opportunity to get to know another culture. So then the rest is history. All fell into a beautiful program. Sometimes we humans feel so tiny regarding a big problem as poverty and lack of access to health services, and so we feel like, oh, what can I do? I'm just one person. I cannot go against governments, I cannot go. However, the power of one is so amazing. It was just one person who changed one tragedy into this beautiful, wonderful organization from a remote area in Costa Rica. Now people benefits from the result of the power of one in Tanzania, Africa, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Peru, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Belize, Mexico. Those vulnerable communities in those countries are being benefited by the power of one. So we're just human beings, even though there are barriers of language, Swahili, Spanish, Creole. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're just human beings, and human beings we need to take care of each other. So I think that the heart of ISL lies on that.